All right. Let's.
You wishing.
You wishing.
You
You
wishing.
wishing. You wishing.
You wishing.
Becca take a you wishing. And we
Honey,
are
it
live.
was ruined before you say it. Are we shown?
We are shown. Hello,
All
hello.
What up? There's just two of us tonight.
Thing 2 and thing 1.
Or you could call him one thing, Chocolate Thunder.
Or Ben.
Let's talk about Cat the Hat really quick, dude. I fucking love that movie. That is a movie I could quote front and back to my day's end.
Like, our friend group personally could literally quote that entire movie. We have, like, how many inside jokes, dude? Probably, like,
Dude,
hundreds. Hundreds.
If you had to pick a favorite scene from that movie.
Cupcake-inator.
Of course.
I mean, that's an iconic scene. If you guys haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything. I mean, or should we spoil it? It's been out for fucking years. Hold on. Here, let me put on the spoiler alert real quick.
What about the end credit scene where it opens up the gate to the Seuss cinematic universe?
Or when they're riding the fucking ride, the fucking slide and shit, and he was just like, "You mean at Universal Studio?" Ha, cha-ching.
Oh my god, dude. I feel like that movie gets so much fucking hate, but I don't understand why, because it's just feel like everyone's like, oh, the cat's creepy. It's too overboard for kids, because like all the fucking sex jokes. I'm like, I don't know. There is a lot of them, but dude, the movie's fucking hilarious.
Mike Myers.
Because I grew up with it. If I was my age and that movie came out, I'd probably been like, okay, this is kind of stupid, but.
But I mean, that movie came out in what, 2003? Like,
yeah.
So
right
I mean,
after the Grinch,
we were young as hell.
Yeah, The Grinch was a big hit, and that is another great fucking movie that I could also quote. And it was like, okay, we just got who's the hottest comedic actor? Jim Carrey played The Grinch. All right, who's another one? Mike Myers. And yeah.
I mean, that was like the end of Mike Myers' like prime though. You got to think he did Austin Powers all through the 90s and early 2000s. He did Shrek. And then he did The Cat in the Hat, and then after that, I mean,
he went downhill.
He just kind of he went downhill and fell off the radar, and then came back in Rocket Man.
And that's where it ends.
Exactly, but dude, I love that movie. I think that's probably my favorite childhood movie of all time, just because of all the inside jokes that we have. It's just one of those.
One of my favorites.
It's one of those movies that just kind of keeps going. It's just like
fucking John.
But yeah, so that's where we get a lot of our inside jokes. So
exactly.
if you haven't checked it out, go watch it. Then you can catch up on our lingo.
Yeah, if you watch any of our like gaming streams, you like especially when we're streaming together, you'll hear a lot of
Isn't that our name in Rocket League right now? Our fucking team name.
Humana,
who is this? Oh. Bong.
Awkward.
What would be okay? So other than Cupcake-inator, because that's like the most iconic scene that everyone enjoys. What is your favorite scene?
That's hard. I really like where he fixes the couch. Let's take a walk under the hood.
I'm sorry, that's Joseph to a T.
Joseph be like, God damn it! I mean, come on, it's fucking bullshit. Oh, dude, Cat in the Hat's fucking great. I love that shit.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
Well, that was a good introduction. Welcome everybody. As you can see, if you are watching, I am in a new setting. I have my own condo now. It's pretty nice. First time living on my own. Been doing this for like my 3rd day in. Kind of liking it so far, you know? Freedom, responsibilities, adult.
He got desk.
Stop. It's like got desk.
What kind of desk is that?
Dude, I found the perfect fucking so when I built my PC, when I was building my PC in January, I went to this thrift store, like just one of those shops where they grab shit and they sell it at like a cheaper price. I don't know, like used stuff.
Like a secondhand store?
Yeah, but pretty much. And there's a whole desk area, and I can't laugh without saying that now.
We need to explain that. Like, we need to explain that to them.
All right, let me explain. So yeah, in order to tell this story, let me go into a whole other story. So a long time ago, when one of my old gaming groups, they were playing Call of Duty, and one of them asked the other, they were like, "How much desk you get?" And I'm like listening, and I'm like, "What the fuck?" And the guy was like confused. He was like, "What?" And it's like, "Desk. How much desk you get?" And then the guy was like, "Yeah, I don't know what the fuck you mean." And he was like, "Well, clearly you get enough. Hello, cat." And yeah, I have a cat. And which brings me to my next point. It all makes sense. So anyways, the guy was saying like, "Oh, clearly you get no desk if you don't know what that means." And I was like, "I'm guessing you," and then I interrupted and I was like, "I'm guessing that means pussy." I was like, I'm like, that's a terrible fucking terminology for that. And so ever since, I was like, that's the greatest thing. I've been like going up to like friends, like I went up to some of my old coworkers, I'd be like, "How much desk you get?" And they're like, "The fuck did you just say to me?" Like, remember when I asked all you guys were so confused, and I was so broad about it. I was like, desk. How much desk would you say you get on an average basis? So yeah, that's what desk means, and I love it because it's so fucking stupid.
It's stupid, but it started. I feel like that paved the way for a lot, right? Was that the first inside joke from that group? No, no, headboard handcuffs. That was the first one. Word handcuffs.
So yeah, let's take a little trip down memory lane with your noises going on. What you doing over there? So when we played Jackbox Party Pack, great games by the way. If you have a group of friends, get it, play it, amazing. And this one guy, we were playing with a random one time, just some random guy, and I think his girlfriend joined too. And like the whole game, it's a party game. You put like goofy, funny answers, and this guy put headboard handcuffs. I started saying handboard handcuffs at one point as a joke, and now I can't stop saying that. So yeah, that's another funny, crazy life of adventure that we have gone through.
We've went through so many gaming groups. I feel like any gamers out there, like if you are somebody that just likes to socialize with other people that you may not know on a regular basis, you go through a lot of them. I feel like we've gone through our fair share. And then I feel like it's just been getting better and better. And this last gaming group we're in, there's a lot of stories behind that one, but I feel like that was the most peaceful of the bunch.
I agree. I think overall, one, and a lot of gamers can relate, like, meeting people through video games. And it can be a good thing sometimes. I remember, and you were here for this too, and TJ and Joseph, Friday the 13th. That was probably my favorite because, and I remember one guy said, like, I usually make enemies in video games. This is the first time where I'm actually like vibing and connecting with people. And I was like, dude, same. Mm-hmm. There was like, I remember there was like drama going on with some people, and you're going to get there. You're going to get people that love to stir shit up, and you're always going to get that. But, and that happened there. But overall, it was fun hopping on with them and playing with them every night. And like, none of us have met each other except obviously the ones we know personally. And it was cool, actually coming together as one on a video game and like having a good time playing with each other every night. It felt like a real group of friends. And yeah, and I've had ones with Call of Duty as well, even though like the guy was like, "Oh, I usually make enemies," because yeah, I made enemies on Call of Duty as well. I remember one time, this one guy, and this was back when I was playing, I think like Black Ops 2 or something, when that was the most recent Call of Duty. There was this one guy who was talking a lot of shit, and then I just said something like funny, and then he's like, "Who the fuck said that?" And I was like, back when my name was like DJ XMC, and I was like, "It's DJ, yo." And then he was like, "DJ, where you at?" And he would come find me and shoot me. And then after that game, like it went on like back and forth for a while of like, you know, us just giving each other shit. And then like we got off, and I remember like 3 or 4 months later we ran into each other in a game again, and he was like, "Oh fuck, I remember you." And I was like, long time no see. We meet again, paper boy.
Have you ever like had like somebody that you like vibed with on a video game, and for like years down the line you're still friends and you still talk to them to this day?
No, not years. The one I think that I was really cool with because like the best way to answer that is when we were playing Friday the 13th, and that one guy Pipeweed, who was really fucking cool, and like anytime there's drama going on, he'd be like, "Shut the fuck up and let's kill each other." I'm like, dude, for real.
That's the point.
Yeah, and I remember after Friday the 13th, when like, you know, naturally everyone kind of gets bored of the game and people start going their separate ways, people stop getting into gaming, people get into other video games. It happens with any gaming group. It's happened with everyone I've been in. And I remember me and him still played Grand Theft Auto together, and then I played Fortnite with him I played Fortnite with him for a little bit when it first became fucking huge. And I haven't talked to him in a while. Granted, I think he's got like a family and shit, but like he was probably the one that I like was the most, like the one I thought was cool, like the most cool out of anyone that I've gamed with in that time, and stuck around with like 3 games later after getting off the game that kind of everyone met each other on. So yeah. How about you?
So when I first got Xbox Live, when I was like probably 10 years old, it was like I was playing Call of Duty Zombies like all the time, right? And I got paired up with this guy who was my age, and so like we're just 2 squeakers at that time, just going around doing our thing and whatnot. And it was my buddy Jordan, and to this day, now mind you, that's like what, 10 years in the future now or something. He still has me on Snapchat. We still talk to each other this day. We don't play any games together, but like it's really cool. Like I was able to make a friend like that and still have it a whole decade later, and still being able to like hit him up and be like, "Yo, what's good?" Like he played Fortnite when I wasn't playing Fortnite. I played Fortnite when he wasn't. Like we just like were on different trends. He switched over to a PC before me and stuff, and then when I got my PC and whatnot, he pretty much like went to college and started working full time, so he really doesn't take the time to do it anymore. But it's still cool that like there's somebody out there that I met in a video game that is still considered like a good friend of mine, just based off of just Snapchats and whatnot, and talking on Facebook and just catching up with each other. Like anytime like he'll like see me online or something, he'll be like, "Dude, how you been?" Like, and we'll just like talk and whatnot. So like he's got his whole life, he's got a wife and kids and whatnot. Like, so it's really cool. It's like that to me was a huge life-changing experience for me. The fact that you can actually make friends with somebody through a fucking video game, you know?
Well, because it really is just another social media platform. It's a good way to meet people, and especially since back in the day before Xbox 360 was a thing, gaming was like in the minority. It wasn't as big of a thing. Like, it was kind of like, only, I don't know if it was ever actually like this. We were children when that like came up, but I guess it was quote unquote nerdy to be into video games. And now it's like the number one fucking thing, like one of the number one things that people are into and do.
Well, I mean, look
like,
at gaming.
I mean, like, everyone I work with, everyone, like anytime I had a job, I'd be like, "You got Xbox? Yeah, sure. What's your game?" That's how I met TJ.
That's how I met TJ. I met TJ through you. Like, like we would play Fortnite all the fucking time together.
Exactly. And when like I remember when I met TJ and his friends that were my old coworkers, like be like, yo, what's your guys' gamer tag? And then like I did that with, you know, some of my other jobs, and like even like at my current job, everyone is like, so what do you play on? I'm like, PC, and they're like, oh, good shit, everyone here's a PC player. I'm like, all right, awesome. And like my friend Mark, my coworker Mark, who is a YouTuber as well, and like, you know, we talk about like streaming games all the time, and we're both playing Resident Evil. I think, I don't know if he's recording it or anything, but he like he was asking me, he's like, where you at in Resident Evil? And then I started explaining a part, and he wasn't familiar with it, and like anytime I like went further, he'd be like, that. You're like, nope, I'm not there yet.
It's like watching a TV. It's like watching a TV series. You know, if you're not caught up or whatnot, they don't want to know. But gaming
of
go for it.
Oh no, honey, you know, because I was about to go into a
No, so the evolution of gaming, you got to look at it like this too, because like going off of what you said, where gaming was all like kind of the minority, kind of like only like nerds would play and whatnot. Everything is just like escalated since. I mean, go back 20 years ago when like the Xbox first came out and shit. Like you only had like where you had to get your friends after school to come home with you, and all four of you had to plug your controllers in to play like Call of Duty or Halo multiplayer.
Right.
And now look at it like game
that.
Exactly, even before all that. And then now look at now, like gaming became so mainstream. There's multiple different ways to do it now. Everybody can collab with each other on it. You got YouTubers that are making a living off of it, Twitch streamers making a living off of it. And some of these games are like World Series shit, like Rocket League, Overwatch,
Fortnite.
League of Legends, Fortnite, Apex Legends. Like all these games, you can make a living just playing these video games in bigger tournaments and bigger competitive things, and win actual prize money, winning sponsorships, you know, and it affects your like Twitch account or your YouTube channel. So it's just like gaming has evolved so much now.
Well, it's crazy that like, you know, like you said, you can make a living off of it, and how like there's these tournaments in Las Vegas for fucking Fortnite that like you can win thousands and thousands of dollars with, and it's just like I'm like, dude, I literally like come home from work, have a couple beers, and play this shit. And there's a guy who is like if I win this game, I'm about to win fucking 20 grand.
It's just, and
they're matched up with like, you know, those are the people that you run into, and like as soon as you shoot them, they have a whole fucking city built already.
Yeah, I mean, but they're like they're global top ranked players, but it's just the ideology of it is just completely different. It's virtual sports is what it is at this point. So it just brings a whole new level. Like you see on ESPN, like you got the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup, but ESPN will also launch like a League of Legends tournament or an Overwatch tournament or a Fortnite tournament. Like those are streamed on there. And then you got like Rocket League that's streamed through Epic Games on their Twitch page and shit like that too. So it's just evolved over the years, and I think especially with the pandemic, it really made gaming top notch. Like to be a professional gamer is just as equivalent of being like a professional football player or a baseball player or anything like that at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's pretty fucking crazy. I remember that's how I first discovered Fall Guys, because at the old store I used to work at, like less than a year, whenever Fall Guys like became really fucking big, so like a year ago, and my old coworker had this stream on, and it was a big tournament going on with all these different Twitch streamers, about a bunch of big ones. I don't remember exactly which one it was, and they were playing Hexagon, and literally there was like 10 people gathered watching this. And I go over there, I'm like, what the fuck is this? And they're like, Fall Guys, it's the new Battle Royale. I'm like, well, no one's shooting each other. Like, what do you do? And they're like, oh, it's obstacle courses. And I was like, what? That's cool. And like, we're like watching like the guy, like they were like, if this guy wins, he wins. I forgot how much it was, but they were like, this is like a tournament, like it's got money on the line. And and like we're watching like these people play Hexagon. Dude, that was probably the most toxic Hexagon game I've ever seen. Like people are out there like grabbing each other like crazy. They're fucking sabotaging the ground like under the people. People are like falling left and right. I was like, this is nuts because it's got money on the line. I think the guy lost, but it was so crazy to see. And then after I saw that, I was like, I need to play this game.
That game. I mean, we talked about it on the last both episodes, I believe.
Yeah.
That Fall Guys is just it's a one of a kind game, and I know we've said it before. I'll say it again. It is a unique battle royale that is a lot more challenging than it originally seems. Like,
well, and it's just, you know, I'm not saying kids can't play it. Yeah, sure. I guess it's because it's rated E. I think it's. I assume it's rated E.
It's rated E.
And you know, it's designed, yes, for. It looks like it's more for children. It looks like a kiddie game, but dude, like you're telling me, they're like a fucking 7 or 8-year-old would not be able to fucking get through all that shit. Unless they're like, I was gonna say like 11 or 12, but I was playing fucking Call of Duty when I was 11 or 12. I wasn't great, but I was okay. So like, sure. And especially kids nowadays playing fucking Fortnite, getting cracked on it, like doing really good, better than I ever could on that game because they're 12 years old. They literally go to school and go home. And so yeah, they're hopping on with their friends and they're like learning all this shit about it. So Fall Guys is the same, you know, construct. And fucking it's crazy that that it looks like a game designed for literally like little kids, and I'm like, no dude, like it's not though. Like I'm 24 years old playing this game. Like it's definitely not a kiddie. I have a hard time with it. I've literally gotten, like, all of us.
Yeah, we've all gotten to the point.
This podcast has gotten angry over that game before.
Dude, I have gotten to the mindset that I was like, I'm never gonna get a fucking crown, and once I got the one, I was like, I'm never fucking getting another one. Like, I'm still in that same mindset because it's a lot more challenging when it comes down to the final few because you just have that natural pressure. Exactly. And I know what you mean. Because you said this to me too before, where once you get a crown, that other stress is not there. But there is still the stress of like, okay, it's me and 4 other people. I can't fuck this up. You know what I mean? Like,
you're not going loosey goosey about like, oh, I got nothing to worry about. No, you still want to win.
Oh,
otherwise,
yeah.
why the fuck would you play?
Agreed.
But yeah, no. I'm really into Fall Guys, and as far as that, really the only modern games I've been playing is obviously Rocket League with you and Resident Evil. There's this one game that we're gonna have to check out that TJ was telling me about. It's called, I think, Knockout Shuffle or Knockout Showdown. It's a dodgeball game, and like, okay, a dodgeball game. That sounds pretty cool. I don't know if it's a training thing. Me, Chris, and TJ were in a call when TJ was talking about it, and like Chris looked it up and he's like, oh, I've heard of this. I don't know if it's a new trend or anything, but anyone watching, if you guys have played a Knockout Shuffle, Knockout Showdown, some dodgeball game,
or just any game that you recommend, let us know.
Yeah, dude, I'm always up for looking for a new game. But I just remembered the one thing I wanted to get into, something I've always wanted to talk about in here, and I fucking wish TJ was here to talk about it because, yeah, we can always talk about it again, but I think when you brought up earlier about it's like a TV show, the best fucking analogy for that are Telltale games. That is literally, and I remember when I first played one, and I think like when I first tried the Walking Dead one, because I saw, a Walking Dead video game, and I didn't know the structure of it. So at first I was like, oh, you're not doing a lot. There's no, like, running around. It's not like Left 4 Dead where you're running around killing zombies. So that disappointed me, and I know a lot of people in games. Till you have to realize this is its own thing. This is unique. This is not a strategic, like, shooter game. And they have a million series. It's literally, they're called a Telltale series. So it's literally taking what a TV show executes with having episodes and characters and story and you basically get to play as the main character. So for example, in The Walking Dead, there's 4 seasons of it. And you're not playing as Rick from the TV show. It's tied in that universe because there's characters from the show that'll show, like Glenn shows up in the first season, and I think somebody else shows up too at some point that's from the show. And they mention little things like, Jesus from The Walking Dead. I don't know if you heard that. Some motorcycle came by. They're like, "There's sons of anarchy in this bitch.
Riding through this world all alone."
I'm not Walking Dead. We're the best show.
They're coming by. They're like, living in this home all alone.
But back to what I was saying. So in the first season, I'm not gonna get into too many spoilers because I do really recommend you should play it, and since you never played it, I recommend you fucking stream them. I think you'll really get into them. If you want a new video game to play, start playing those, because dude, as soon as you play one, you'll want to play all the others. And I have never played a single bad Telltale series. All of them were really fucking good. There's ones I like better than others, but there isn't one where I'm like, I didn't have fun with this. I had fun with there's a Minecraft one. It's called Minecraft Story Mode. I was like, how the fuck is this gonna be fun? And there's 2 seasons of it, and I love them both. And yeah, so there's that. There's a Batman one, a Game of Thrones one.
Wolf of Wall Street, right?
No. No, it's The Wolf Among Us.
Wolf Among Us.
That's probably my favorite one because that one's unique. It literally, I guess it's based on a comic series, but dude, you would love that one. So what it's about is you're playing as the big bad wolf from the Three Little Pigs story. And in this world, he is a detective. So it's literally like all these fairy tale stories kind of brought to life in like a darker world. So the big bad wolf I think he was a police detective. I haven't played in years, so I could be wrong about that, but he's a police detective. And
he goes and says, magnet vented in electrical.
And yeah, it says Among Us in it. And like, Snow White's in it. And fucking I think like the 3 little bears like show up at some point. Like, dude, it's really cool that they bring like these fairy tales and like make like a kind of like a fucking like make it Seven, the movie Seven story out of it. So the whole story is like trying to find out who this murderer is. And you're basically in those games, you play as a character and you make decisions. Like, you have to pay attention to the dialogue, and like you'll be talking to this character, and like you don't know if a certain character will be sketchy or not, so sometimes you have to be careful about what you say. And then like if you choose an answer of what they're gonna say, if you say something that'll piss off the character, they're gonna be like, this character will remember this, and then that's gonna play into effect some point in a later episode.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really interesting, dude. I had so much fun with all of them. I remember when I first played because the Batman one was brand new, and I played that, and I was really into it. And then after that, on the Xbox Marketplace, there was a Telltale collection. It's it was like $100 and something thing that came with 5 full series, because there's like 5 episodes per game, sometimes like 7 or 8, and it came with like 5 full series. And it was on sale for like $30. I was like, oh, holy shit. I was like, this is meant to be. I copped it, and I fucking binge played all of them, dude. So I definitely recommend you should play them. And if I had to pick a favorite one, I would either pick The Wolf Among Us or the first Walking Dead one. But then there's like there's ones that are more darker, and like the Walking Dead ones are very dark and fucked up. Like I remember there's one episode that really like haunted me. Because I'm not going to get into spoilers, but yeah, there's like some really chilling shit in some of them. And then there's really fun, adventurous ones, like Tales from the Borderlands. Guardians of the Galaxy has one. They're like, they have like different genres within. And then Game of Thrones was really cool too. And I remember I was like thinking about this. I was like, what would be a good Telltale series that they haven't done yet? and apparently they made a comeback because the company fell apart a few years ago.
I was gonna say, I think Joseph said something on his channel about it.
He had a Telltale rant video, so what happened with that is they basically went bankrupt because they would come out with their episodes like once a month per game, per series, and they would wait like another year or two for the next series to come out for whatever they were gonna do. And I remember when they were announcing, like, you know, we can't afford like to pay our employees anymore. They like laid everyone off and they shut down their fucking company, their headquarters and everything. And then somebody picked them up. It was Skybound, which is Robert Kirkman, the guy who created the whole Walking Dead universe. It's his company. I don't know if him himself picked them up, but somebody from Telltale went over there and was like, we need to make a comeback. And they're able to do that. And they announced, like, okay, we're back. They were like, we got a new team. Everyone's on board. We got some of the old members back, like, who did the visuals and everything like that. So they announced that they were going to do a Wolf Among Us 2, which is something every Telltale fan's been waiting for, and then a Batman Season 3. And then I was thinking about ones that they could do that would make a good... Because, like, the ones that have to do with mystery are really good. Like, I think Saw. I think if they did a Saw one would be really fucking good. Like, you're in a whole Saw story. That or Scream. Because Scream is all about who is the killer. So, I think... Because I love, like... The Walking Dead's, like, really the only one that goes through a horror route. And that's their most popular one. And I was like, if they continue that on, now that The Walking Dead's over, because Walking Dead Season 4 was its final season.
Yeah.
They even said Walking Dead, the final season. And it was a very good send-off. That one's perfect. That whole series, seasons 1, 2, 3, and 4, all fucking great. And I was like, dude, if they did another horror one, Saw or Scream, I think Saw would be more
Saw
ideal.
would be a lot better because there's so many different character developments that you can do from anybody. Whereas Scream, it's like you're just trying to figure out who the killer is. So I feel like they really can only stay with a narrow path. They can do a couple off tangents, but Saw, because of the different types of mystery that are involved with, like, who's Jigsaw now, because after what's his face John died in the third one, spoiler, that it was somebody
the last episode.
yeah, when we talked about Spiral. But yeah, I mean,
dude, I think you should get on those. Fuck, I'll even gift you one day, like just so you feel obligated to start, and I think you should stream them, dude, since you never played them. They're really fucking fun. I the people that don't like them, like, I get their it's if you're into that kind of shit or not, and so unique, because this, like, I think this kid I went to high school with, like, when I was in high school, that's when I was getting into them. I think my senior year, or it was a little after that, I don't remember, but someone that I knew back in the day, I remember talking to them about it, and I was like, have you ever played, like, those Telltale games? And they were like, I tried Tales from the Borderlands because I'm a big Borderlands fan, and it sucked. I was like, why? Or no, it was when I just heard about these, and he was like, don't ever play Tales from the Borderlands. I was like, why? And he was like, it's stupid. There's no gameplay. There's barely any quests to do or anything like that. And if you're going into it with that mindset, you're gonna be disappointed, because it's not those kind of games. It's literally a clash of a video game combined with a TV show, and you're in it. You're in the TV show, playing as the main character, making the decisions. You gotta pay attention to dialogue. There is little gameplay here and there, but nothing like, I gotta beat this level. It's nothing like that.
Yeah, it's all about just doing little small tasks or whatever, like press A to do this, press B to do this.
Yeah, flip the analog
I did one Telltale game when you talked about them. It was the Batman one, and I mean, I guess it was good. It's just not my kind of game. I'm more of like a first person shooter, like any type of shooting game, trying to complete something. Like, I've been getting into Destiny 2 lately, with like raids and like whatnot. So I actually want to talk a little bit about it because I know there's a couple people watching from my Destiny server. What's up, y'all?
I'm not too familiar with Destiny, so enlighten me on some of that shit.
So think of Destiny as like a Monster Hunter, but it's more of a clash of futuristic and medieval. So you basically kind of run yourself between 3 different classes. You can either be a Titan, a Warlock, or I can't forget the Hunter. And it's basically kind of like there's a story plot to it and whatnot, but it's
like
mainly
Dungeons and Dragons
in a sense. Think of it more like Elder Scrolls Online. It's basically an MMOR. And you're basically trying to just complete certain things, get exotic loot, and then there's PvPs. Like you can do like kind of like think of like Call of Duty matches, like Call of Duty multiplayer, like team death matches, whatnot. So I mean, it's a type of game where if you like that kind of scenery and whatnot, if you like the whole futuristic medieval style kind of shit, as well as like any type of like first person shooter and like raid bosses and whatnot, like it's a good game. And I didn't like it when Destiny 1 was out, and it took me a while to get into Destiny 2, but it's a game that you just gotta have the right group of people to play with. Like if everybody's on board and whatnot, like they just dropped a remastered raid. They dropped a remastered raid called Vault of Glass. And doing that raid was unbelievable. I'm talking the raid took 17 hours.
What are you doing raids exactly?
So think of it like a mission. You gotta go through, you gotta basically kill off everything or do certain tasks to get to certain things. So like if anybody that's watching plays Destiny, the Vault of Glass was pretty much you got to solve certain puzzles as well as doing a lot of what's called ad clear, which is just a bunch of enemies trying to like shoot at you and whatnot. You got to kill them off, and then you go for the final boss. Now, the thing is, God, I wish I could have pulled Yin on this because he knows way more about this than I do. Yeah. But the Vault of Glass was a raid that was originally from Destiny 1. They brought it back for Destiny 2 with a couple amps on it. And it is probably the most challenging raid I've ever done. Again, when they drop it for the first 24 hours, it's called World's First. Basically, your fire team of 6, whoever can complete it first gets World's First. And everyone puts themselves at a competitive level of what's called light. And that's basically saying like if I'm at a 1299 light, if I'm going into a raid that's recommended for 1310, that's going to be 20 times the power against me, which means I'm going to get killed off quicker than somebody who's a 1310. It would be kind of 1-to-1 damage.
Okay.
But the Vault of Glass was a very fun raid. It was a great comeback for them. I think they did very well with the execution of it. Bungie's kind of a hit or miss with those, honestly. But long story short, that first raid in contest mode, we spent 17 hours doing it from start to finish. Nonstop.
Is it one of those things you can like... I mean, I know it's online multiplayer, but can you pause it and come back to it? No. Or did you literally play... You played 17 hours straight?
I didn't play 17 hours. I only did 7. Shout out to Yin and Axel, who put in 17 hours of their day into playing this, as well as Schnitzel, Destroyed, my fire team. They all together was 17 hours, and it's a pain in the ass. But after the first 24 hours, then it goes based off of everyone's light, and it's a little more feasible. It's pretty much like an hour and a half raid on normal. But they got to make it challenging because you got to get, if you're going for World's First, it's not going to just happen overnight. It's not going to happen on the first run, and it's a pain in the ass, but it was fun nonetheless.
Good shit.
But that's a game I recommend if you like if you like doing those kind of like raid bosses and getting everyone together and kind of going through like dungeons,
you know what it sounds like,
whatever.
and you said Monster Hunter, and there's that game we used to play that was like
Dauntless.
Yeah, Dauntless.
It's exactly like Dauntless.
And honestly, dude, when I first got into Dauntless, I was like, I'm not sure about this. I ended up having a lot of fun till I started realizing, oh, you're doing the same shit every fucking time.
It's true.
And there's games like that. There's some games where I'm just like, it really feels like I am doing the same shit every time that I can't get into. And yeah, I don't know. As far as like specifics, and I know he would kill me if he was here. That's kind of how I felt with Borderlands. If TJ was here, he'd be ripping me a new one.
Oh, dude, he's probably gonna come in the comments right now if he's watching. Yeah, he's like, no, that's fucking bullshit.
I felt like I was kind of
okay, bro.
When I had a lot of fun with Borderlands 1, when I started playing Borderlands 2, which I know is the top tiered one, a lot of the quests kind of felt like the same thing to me. But I guess, and here's the counter argument, because I am aware of the counter argument against it. You can say that about any fucking RPG then, because
Agreed.
it's like, okay, well, all right, you do the same thing in Fallout, you do the same thing in Skyrim.
Well, it's all the same concept.
It's about if the story hooks you like that. Because I wasn't really hooked into the story of Borderlands. I had fun with it, I liked it, but I think it depends like what your favorite is. Like that's why like I know TJ like isn't a fan of Fallout. He's told me, he's like, I don't like Fallout, it's not my thing. I'm like, all right, understandable, it's not your thing. That's my fucking favorite video game franchise of all time, and I'm hooked into that world. So I think it's if you're living that world. That's why they're called RP, like role-playing games. You're playing as the character living in that world. You get sucked in. It's about if it sucks you in or not. I didn't get sucked into Borderlands like that. I had fun with it, but you know, I just wasn't like in a rush to play. Like if they dropped it, if they like announced a new fucking Fallout, I would be so fucking stoked for it. And same like Elder Scrolls was kind of the same thing. I was more into Borderlands than I was into Elder Scrolls, to be honest. I liked Elder Scrolls, but I was like, this isn't 100% my thing. Skyrim, I had fun with it, but I wasn't in a rush for the next Elder Scrolls.
And we're still waiting on that. They've talked about Elder Scrolls 6 for at least 3 years now. And it's been said at every G3 like for the last 3 years. They're not getting any younger. They need to come out with it. Or I think personally, they should just keep Elder Scrolls Online the way it is, continue adapting it, and kind of let Bethesda run the rest of its course with Elder Scrolls, because there's really not much more you can do going into that. Like Skyrim is kind of like, in the lore of it, is like Avengers Endgame is Skyrim. It's building up to that final war in Tamriel. So what are you going to make after that? You're basically Elder Scrolls 6, in my opinion, is just going to be a medieval version of Fallout at that point. Because at the end of the game, you have the wars. And the wars are just going to destroy the entire land. And what do you got after that? Just a bunch of wasteland. And you could try rebuilding everything. But I don't know. Unless they got something under their sleeve. It's been 3 years now for it. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, and that's why I wasn't trying to talk down about Borderlands in any way, like saying like, oh, it's just the same shit, fuck this game. No, I just felt that way doing the quest, but I do know there is substance to it. There's substance to that. There's substance to Skyrim. Whereas all those games, all those famous RPGs, Assassin's Creed as well, versus something like Dauntless that has no story to get sucked into. It's like, hey, want to go fight this monster? All right, let's go do it again. All right, let's do it again. All right, and that's all it is. There's no end. There's no story. I can't speak the same for Monster Hunter, because I don't know if there's a story. I've never played them, so I mean,
Destiny. Going back to that, Destiny has a lore behind it. Each DLC is a lore of its own, so it's all kind of like different sides. You see all sides of the spectrum between the armies of the light and the armies of the darkness, and you're kind of like that middleman in between. You can unlock what's called stasis, and you're a light warrior but with darkness powers. So, you know, there's a whole lore behind all of that, but it's also at the same time could target somebody that's like, I just want to do a bunch of, you know, big bosses and raids, like boss battles and fights and whatnot. Think of it kind of like how Cuphead is all just straight boss fights.
Yeah.
You have that with Destiny, but then you also have the storyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've never played Cuphead, and I know exactly what it is, and it looks like fun, and I might one day. The reason I haven't is because I know how I am with video games, and I'm just like, dude, this game is gonna piss me off at some fucking point. And everyone I know, you and TJ, who have both played it, said, dude, this game's fucking hard. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to play that.
What,
I don't know
Destiny?
if I ever want... No, Cuphead.
Oh, Cuphead. Cuphead's a completely new.
I don't know if I want to stress myself out. I love the concept though, looking like a 1930s like Mickey Mouse cartoon.
You should do it, man. You should do it. It would totally help your stream too. It gives you something. Yeah. It gives you something different.
I probably will. It's like $20 right now too.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna get it, and I'm gonna try and do run-throughs on it or whatever, and whatnot. So Twitch chat's popping up. Hello, Chris. Good to see you. How you doing?
Let me check this out.
And so little words from your viewers. The viewer shades.
Oh, my friend Connor. My friend Connor texted me, "Gosh, you're pretty on your podcast. Thank you, Connor." His face emoji.
Oh God. Axel told me we can't hear the stream.
Really?
No, it's good. It's good.
I was like, bro.
I was like, bro, I have it unmuted, I promise.
Did you like try watching it to make sure?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's where Chris popped in. He was like, I can hear it. Restart the stream, and then they said they can hear it. So okay. Cool. Thanks for giving me a heart attack.
So since Chris is here, let's talk about something that Chris would love to talk about if he was here.
And Chris, feel free to type in
the 21 Pilots album. Is it scaled and icy or scaly and ice?
Scaled and icy.
Okay. Chris would be like, God, Sam, you don't know what it is. You're not a real fan.
Yeah, let's talk about this. He's a Geek Squad Chris here. But yeah, let's talk about this album real quick, because I got a lot to say about this.
Me too. All right.
So
I want to talk about the overall before I get into the details. I think overall, I really enjoyed the album. I think it's better than Trench.
Oh, by
far. I know a lot of people don't love Trench. I liked it. There's a lot of songs I actually fucking love from Trench, and then there's a lot that I don't like from Trench. So, cause like there's songs like like Smithereens and
Nico and the Niners.
I mean like I don't like Smithereens. And
I didn't hear that. No, I love Nico and the Niners.
I never turned on Bandito. I really like Nico and the Niners. I love the hype. I love Chlorine. Those and Cut My Lip and Morph. Like I said, there's a lot of songs I love. This one, there's really only 2 songs that I didn't like, and the rest I fucking loved. And then there's ones that like I liked, that I was like, oh, I like it, but I'm not crazy about it. And I kind of really like, and I remember when me and Chris were talking about it, I'll give, since Chris isn't here to talk about, I'll speak for him about this because he told me this. He was like, he was talking about that he didn't know if it was going to be like a sequel to Vessels or not, because Shy Away and I guess Choker, yeah, because
Choker
had,
especially,
like, a moment that kind of sounded like Migraine a little bit. The whole rapping part with like the doo, 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 like kind of noise, and then that, like,
copyright that shit. You sounded like Super Mario Brothers right there.
And anyways, so yeah, I kind of felt that, and I told Chris, I was like, I'm so fucking glad it was not a sequel to Vessels, that it was its own thing. It wasn't trying to be like another fucking album that they did. Because if they did that, I would be like, fuck, they're starting to lose it. They're starting to lose their creativity if it sounded exactly like another album that they've done. And it didn't. It had this it had this funky vibe. I loved how it was like more catchy, like dancey kind of music, and it had like that electronic sound. And I was like, "Do you find me dancey?" And yeah, no, dude. I think my favorite songs, because I remember when The Outside came on, I was really into that, and then back to back with Never Take It, Mulberry Street, and Formidable. I loved all three of those songs, and I loved that they were one after the other. And I was so excited because Never Take It is my kind of sound. It's got that more alternative rock sound. It's got they didn't have too much electronic going on. It has more of a rock. And Mulberry Street, I just think it's stuck in my head, super catchy, and I love it. And then Formidable, I think it's because it's something I love about 21 Pilots. It has like a deep message behind it. Like it's a very lyrical sound. And then the only songs that I didn't care for was Bounce Man and
Good Day.
Good Day was all right in my opinion, and it is forgettable, but I don't dislike it, and I don't love No Chance, but there's parts of it that I do like. So I guess that's my take on the album overall. I just wanted to breeze through that.
Yeah, put the name 21 Pilots aside from that album. That album sounded like you were listening to Sirius XM. It had so much variety with every single song, and every single song hit in the right spots, in my opinion. There were a couple that were, like you said, forgettable. I wasn't a fan of Good Day. I feel for an intro it wasn't bad, but that was a good song. That was a good placement for that song. I feel like if that was in the middle or that was the ending track, I would have been like, "Are you serious? This is really where we're going." But the singles that released up to that album, which was Shy Away, Choker, and Saturday, I think all three of those kind of displayed different parts of this album of what it was going to be, and the rest of these songs kind of filled in the gaps. This is the most versatile 21 Pilots album I've heard. And that's coming from a group that is versatile. You know what I mean? Exactly. That is a group that every song is different. So when you as an artist that is known for doing damn near every genre in your music and still be able to do an entire album that just outblew all that expectation and just make you think, wow, they really did it all. That's where this album came in. This is why I think this is my favorite 21 Pilots album. This beats Blurryface for me. And the reason why I say that as well is Blurryface grew on me. There was a lot of songs on there that you heard on the radio, like Ride and Stressed Out. Those were so overplayed in my opinion. I to this day, it's if I'm in the mood to hear it, I'll listen to it. But if it's on the radio, I'm like, this song again,
Yeah. But that's not their fault. I have a question for you. Ooh, excuse me. I have a question for you. Do you think that when you said Blurryface grew on you, I get that because that was the exact same way. And that's because that is the album that put them on the map. That is a majority of people that listen to 21 Pilots. Not everybody, but a majority. That was the first time they've ever heard 21 Pilots. Because Vessel, they weren't big. They weren't fucking huge. They were getting somewhere, but they weren't huge. So with that being said, do you think that you love this because you're already a 21 Pilots fan, and because you didn't really know about them when you listened to Blurryface? You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say yes and no. And the reason why I say that is because I listened to 21 Pilots when they came out with Car Radio, which was well before Blurryface.
Vessels, yeah.
Yeah. So when Vessels was out, that's when I got into 21 Pilots. And Vessels is still probably one of my favorite albums to this day, one of my favorites. But Scaled and Icy hit that expectation mark for me, whereas like Blurryface took a couple of years for me to be like, okay, I really like this album. Scaled and Icy, day one. And that's looking at it as an outside point of view. Put 21 Pilots aside again. Listening to Scaled and Icy is like turning on Sirius XM, Channel 2, Top Hits, all bangers, and hearing it all for the first time.
Yeah.
Not knowing who they are. You know, obviously, this is going to hit charts. This is going to hit number one. Guaranteed. Probably has already.
Well, because they're 21 Pilots.
They're 21 Pilots,
and
yeah.
It's a good fucking album. And here's the thing, and this is what I like. I can't speak for them, obviously, but I have a feeling this is kind of what they did. Because, you know, if people think Shy Away is their favorite song, that's perfectly fine. It wasn't mine, and when I first listened to it, another song that grew on me. I like Shy Away a lot more than the first time I heard it. I didn't dislike it the first time I heard it, but I was like, it's fine. And then Choker came out, and I felt the same way. I was like, damn, two songs that are promoting this album. I'm like, I'm kind of scared for the album if I'm not gonna love it. And you know, I didn't think I was gonna hate it, but I was like, if I don't love it, or if there's not at least something on there that I don't love, I'm gonna be disappointed, because so far the first two songs I just think are okay. And
then they
even
released
to
Saturday.
this day, and then Saturday I was like, okay, this is a step up, because I agree with you on that. But dude, when I first heard Never Take It, I instantly fell in love with it, because that's it reminds me, I don't know, it's got more of a, how would I describe it? It doesn't sound like We Don't Believe What's on TV, but it's got that vibe where it's more like guitar and more focused on the guitar and the drums than the electronic sound.
Agreed.
Mulberry Street reminds me of Not Today, which is one of my favorite 21 Pilots songs of all time. And it just got that catchy hook to it, and I loved everything about it. And then I also really like Formidable for its deeper message, which is something they're very good with. And then The Outside was just another catchy one. I think The Outside is one of my favorites because that one felt the most original sound from them, personally. Like, and that song really represents the album with that like funky sound to it. Because I think that's like, if you can describe the album in one word, funky. It's got that like
but a lot but if you notice, a lot of artists nowadays are going back to that. Look at The After Hours by The Weeknd. You know, that's another funky kind of feel to it, especially Blinding Lights. Like, you know, that's kind of paved the way.
Sounds like an 80s song. Yeah.
Like, when I heard Blinding Lights for the first time, I didn't know that was The Weeknd. I legitimately thought it was just like some fucking TikTok trend that came back, like how Fleetwood Mac all of a sudden came back out of nowhere because of TikTok. It's shit. Like, I just thought it was just some song from the 80s, and when I like heard it was The Weeknd, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I never would have thought that.
Well, and I remember when I first discovered that song, I was on Facebook, and there was a meme. It was like one of those video memes, and it said, me listening to Blinding Lights. And it had Blinding Lights playing. I think it was just like the... like, not him singing. It was just the instrumental. And it's the scene from The Breakfast Club when they're all dancing in the library.
Yes.
And I showed it to Maddie, my sister Madison. She was visiting, and I showed it to her. And she was like, yes. I was like, what is this? She's like, you never heard that song? She's like, it's The Weeknd's new song. I'm like, oh, I like The Weeknd. And I listened to it. She's like, it sounds like an 80s song. And then I listened to it. I'm like, oh my God, it does. And she's like, so yeah, that's why like it fits perfectly with that meme, because The Breakfast Club.
Exactly.
And Maddie was like, it sounds like something that would be in like Stranger Things, which is 80s based. And I'm like, dude, it really does. It's got that. And I showed it to my mom, because, you know, my mom grew up in the 80s and she loves 80s music, and she fucking loves it. And she's like, oh my God, this sounds like, something that would have came out like when I was in high school.
So I mean, and then there's more songs off of that album that give you that feel, like In Your Eyes. That's another like slower '80s synth like instrumental with the weekend's like R&B lyrics over it and whatnot. But like there's a lot of artists bringing that back. Even BTS has got like a fucking '80s vibe on some shit. Like,
Yeah.
So I feel like that just is coming back as a trend, is becoming radio culture again, which I'm for. There's
It's
a
like,
lot.
well, it's like, and we talked about this in the first episode, but just to briefly sum it up with what we're talking about right now, Greta Van Fleet, bringing back that classic rock sound.
Exactly.
And who the fuck doesn't like? Like, I understand if nobody likes older music. If you're just into newer music, that's fine. But like, if you're into classic rock, there's no way you can't like Greta Van Fleet. And I like that somebody's like, there's a band like, dude, let's come back with this older sound. People fucking like that. People love. I mean, I don't know if I'm sure they're aware that they sound a lot like Led Zeppelin. And yeah, I don't think they're.
Could you imagine if they opened for like Led Zeppelin or something? I could see that potentially happening.
See, and here, this is gonna go into something new, which I'm fine with, but this is something I've thought about, because I know Led Zeppelin has not toured in forever. I would love, and I think there was a rumor. They never confirmed it. I don't think they ever spoke about it. It was probably just somebody like having wishful thinking, but. It'd be cool if they got someone, because their drummer's dead. Everyone else is still alive. And Jimmy Page is still alive. Robert Plant's still alive. And, you know, they're as old as Pink Floyd and Rolling Stones. And Rolling Stones, who still fucking tours and still comes out with new music. You know, it'd be cool if they got someone to drum for them. If they got, like, a really good drummer, like Travis Barker, or, like, fucking... even Dave Grohl.
Yeah.
Like somebody who's like you can trust to step into John Bonham's shoes and they make a comeback tour. That'd be the most expensive fucking concert ever.
Oh,
if you just like saw Led Zeppelin making a comeback tour, and it will sell out in seconds. But oh my god, dude, would I spend $1,000 for a nosebleed?
It'd be worth it, man. That's like shit that's on like people's bucket lists and stuff. Like,
yeah,
you know,
and unfortunately, it's probably never gonna happen, but it could. That's the thing. Like, I don't know.
If anything,
maybe they respect John Bonham that much too. They're like, I can't replace him. We're not gonna replace him. So, yeah, that's probably what they're doing. And also, Robert Plant does his own music. I don't know if he still makes music, but he did solo stuff for a while. I don't know what Jimmy Page is up to. Maybe a lot of them are just retired and done. And they do have the money to, like, they're in their fucking 70s now. So, yeah, they already
enjoy the rest of your life, you know?
And to set their families up, too. So they don't need to do this. It would be more of fan service. But, yeah, I would love to see that. But, you know, I am thankful for a lot of legends that I've seen, because, you know, I'm into classic rock, and I know you know that, and I know you are too. So that's why those are my favorite concerts to go to, because those are the most laid back ones, and you're hearing songs that have been huge for 30 plus years. And so I'm thankful that I got to see, who have I seen? I've seen Aerosmith, one of my favorite bands of all time. I've seen Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, my favorite fucking musician of all time, twice, and now he's gone. And I'm just so thankful, and especially because he was my number one. So I was like, there's no way I can't see Tom Petty, and I've seen him twice. And then Paul McCartney, who I was like, dude, it's a fucking Beatle. And it was like
the way you said that, it's a fucking Beatle.
It's a fucking oh my god, it's a Beatle.
But yeah, I regret that. I regret not being able to see like classic artists like that. But there's other bands nowadays I regret that I haven't seen, like Linkin Park. I regret not going to Linkin Park.
Well, yeah, that's a whole thing of its own. Like, well, yeah, you never know when someone's gonna pass. with like, you know, Chester Bennington's case, but like, you know, you can't like rely strictly on that. But so my tip to anyone watching that loves going to concerts, and if you're into classic rock especially, go to the fucking concert. If you see a band that you love from the 70s and 80s touring, buy that fucking ticket, because I promise you will regret it. I know if I've never seen Tom Petty, I'd be sad thinking about it right now. And yeah, and I'm glad, like Aerosmith, and that was, dude, I like literally made it a mission at one point. I was like, okay, I've seen a lot of these legends already, or like, you know, big bands from that time. I haven't seen Aerosmith, who is one of my favorites. And I was gonna go in like 7th grade with my buddy Tom, because his dad was friends with someone that worked at one of the venues out there, and I think Aerosmith was playing there. And Aerosmith didn't tour a lot, like when I was getting a little bit older. And also the band broke up at one point, got back together. So they were having issues of their own. And, you know, Steven Tyler's drug problem, being in and out of rehab. And so I remember they were doing a tour when I was like in 7th or 8th grade. And my friend Tom was like, hey, we should go to this. I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. And he asked me because he knew I was a huge Aerosmith fan. And then I forgot, for some reason, I think they were already sold out, or they like were doing something that day and they couldn't go. And he was like, man, dude, I'm sorry. I'm like, I think I was pissed, because I was like, I was a 12-year-old. I was like, what the I can't go see Aerosmith. And then literally when I was like 17 years old, they were touring again. And my friend Tom, who like is a huge concert goer, he was like, hey man, I'm going to the Aerosmith concert. I bought 2 tickets, and I was gonna go with my sister Taylor originally, because I thought she was gonna be in town, and then she ended up postponing that trip. And so I think I just gave it to somebody, one of my old friends, and I was like, hey dude, free ticket, want to see Aerosmith with me? They were like, yeah, sure. And then we met up with my buddy Tom, and it was fucking awesome, dude. I was so happy. Oh, and then Slash opened for them. That was a bonus. One of the greatest guitarists of all time, fucking Slash, dude. I was like, holy shit, man. And he jammed with them at one point. I think it was during Walk This Way. Like fucking like I know Joe Perry's the guitarist, but I know like I think Slash did the guitar solo for that song. The part where it's like do do wow wow wow, like not the no, but he like showed up at one point, everyone fucking freaked out. And then when Sweet Emotion played, the entire fucking crowd went in. Sweet Emotion. It was so, dude, it was so surreal. I was like, I just felt at peace. I was like, okay, I've seen Aerosmith, one of my favorite bands growing up. I'm at peace now. As far as like legends go that are still around, I don't know if there's too many where I'm like, I have to fucking see them. But, you know, I would still be down to see Rolling Stones if they toured. I would still be down to see, I don't know, Roger Waters.
Have you seen Styx?
Did Pink Floyd. Yes. I've seen Dennis DeYoung when he was doing solo stuff, and that was actually better than the Styx concert, because I saw Styx as well with my friend Connor, and that was a cool concert because the Styx concert, and this was like 4 years ago, it was right before I moved to Florida. And me and my friend Connor were like back to back with concerts, because he was like, okay, you're leaving soon, we have to, like, dude, Styx is playing. 2 weeks later, Boston played, and then fucking Paul McCartney was playing. I was like, we have to go to all of these. And Styx was cool because what the fuck was his name? The guy from the Eagles, I forgot his name. He was the lead singer of the Eagles, I believe, or lead guitarist, one or the other. He opened. He was the first opener. Then REO Speedwagon, which was a bonus. That was really cool to see. And then Styx played. And when I was younger, like 10 years old, me, Brett, and RJ and our parents saw Dennis DeYoung at this like state fair, and that was really cool. And like he played, you know, all the hits that he sung. So like Come Sail Away, fucking Mr. Roboto. I vividly remember hearing Mr. Roboto live because that was so cool. Are there any legends you've seen, like classic rock bands?
Unfortunately, no.
Damn.
That's the sad truth is I really didn't get big into concerts until I was like a senior in high school. And I never was like, oh, let's go out of town and go to like Chicago or Indianapolis or whatnot to go. So that is something I deeply regret. I got into like going to concerts, going to shows, festivals, and whatnot pretty late into my childhood. So I really haven't spent a lot of time actually seeing any. But Styx played at this like little thing in New Lenox, if you know where that's at. It's a suburb.
Oh, yeah.
It's a suburb of Chicago. They do this whole like 3 shows a summer pass for the residents of New Lenox, and my aunt lives there, so she gets them for all of us and whatnot all the time. And you know, my mom's seen Styx. She's seen what the fuck are they called? She's seen Joan Jett.
Oh,
yeah.
cool.
So like a lot of these classic artists and stuff are playing at like all these like local places, which is to me kind of weird. You know, you would think like they would play at like the United Center or, you know, Wrigley Field or something like that, just to name ones from Chicago. So it's crazy to think like that they're all doing these local ones. So I think I'm just going to start investing and just looking and seeing all these local ones to see if any bigger artists are playing, like, you know, The Forge and fucking obviously the three shows at New Lenox and whatnot, just little things like that to see if anyone comes up.
Well, I remember my dad and my sister and my mom saw Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys. The lead singer of the Beach Boys, his band was playing at this like little venue, and then I was like, okay, that's pretty fucking cool. And then my sister Taylor saw, not together, but pretty much at the same type of venue, just a small little area that probably holds no more than like 100 people, and she saw Weezer at one of them.
Really?
And then she saw fucking Foo Fighters at another.
Oh, wow.
Dude, that's cooler. It feels like a private thing at that point.
It feels like
It's cool seeing them at a big stadium too, but
you get
like a little room, you feel more involved in it.
I was gonna say, I feel like smaller venues are just better as a concert. You know, it's impossible for bigger artists to do that nowadays. They can, but you're not gonna fulfill all the crowd. You're not going to get everybody involved, and obviously you got to make ticket sales or something in order to make a decent amount of money off those shows. Which is why it's cool that these classic artists and classic bands and whatnot from the 70s and 80s that hit their prime 20 years ago and whatnot are coming back and doing these little shows at little venues to just to kind of show. I feel like it's just to kind of show appreciation to the people that listen to their music to this day.
Yeah.
Because you can never see like 21 Pilots playing at the Forge. Or they probably couldn't even play at the Civic Center in Peoria, you know, and that seats like 3,000 to 4,000 people.
See, and they play, and I'm sure they play United Center. I saw them at Amalie Arena, which is where the Lightning play, and that's where I also saw ELO. And so it's just another Unite Center, just a big indoor stadium. And, you know, those kind of places are fun to be at, too. And also the amphitheater in Tinley Park, the Hollywood Casino. Those are, like, you know, it depends. Because I like being at the smaller indoor places. And especially seeing a bigger band makes it that much more special. But when I saw, Tech Nine, I know Tech Nine's big, but he's not like fucking enormous. He's not like Drake big. It'd be like different seeing Drake at like a little indoor venue, because I'm like, it's fucking Drake, dude. He's huge. Or like 21 Pilots. But like being at those outdoor ones is special too, because you're like being in the entire crowd. Like I said, when I saw Aerosmith and Sweet Emotion played, and everybody sang along to it, it was so fucking cool. And then I have a funny story about the Aerosmith concert, because I'm sure anyone out there watching, concert goers, we've all seen some crazy people in one day or another at a concert. I remember this at the Aerosmith concert, a little bit in front of me and my friends, there was this like 30-year-old guy with his wife and their friends. And the husband and wife were fucking they were gone. They had too much to drink before, definitely. And the guy's jumping like moving around, like trying like hang out with his friends to be stable, and he's yelling. And like it didn't bother me. It's funny. And like anytime everyone cheered, like after a song, how everyone cheers, after everyone was done cheering, you just hear him go, ah! and then or it's like, and then he's like fucking like making out with his wife, and then he's laying her down on, like, because we're in the field where like everyone has like blankets to sit on shit. He like lays her down on a blanket and like getting on top of her and like feeling up. It looks like, dude, I was like, are they about to fuck in front of everybody? And
don't be surprised. Someone that goes to festivals, I've seen that firsthand. It happens.
And then I look over to my left, and fucking this I wish I was a part of. There was like fucking a group of 10 people, like all like arms around each other, and during Love in an Elevator, the part that's like whoa, yeah, they were like whoa, yeah. I was like, I wish I was a part of it.
I can see our group doing that.
Yeah, right. Everyone just like, I just look, like I see this guy about to fuck his wife, then I look over, whoa, yeah. I was like, where am I?
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it was fucking great. Yeah. So, yeah, as far as like legends go, like I said before, man, if there's any legends out there you still want to see that are still around and touring, I know it's hard with like, pandemic going on and everything, but yeah, definitely do that. Make it part of your bucket list, because I'm a huge concert goer and I'm a huge music lover. I was like, I'm not gonna live my life regretting not seeing somebody, because concerts mean that much to me.
So speaking of that, I've been hearing, so all these concerts and festivals are starting to reopen again. And one of the biggest things I fear about it is obviously like, what are they doing with the pandemic requirements and whatnot? Are they, because like I've heard that
I know a little bit about it.
From what I've heard, at least in the state of Illinois, to use as an example, which is a very big like pro mask, keep like 6 feet distance. We reach a certain peak of new cases, they shut the counties down and stuff. Like, they take it a little bit more like seriously and drop us back down to certain phases based on how many new cases come about. But what they're talking about is they want people to obviously be vaccinated in order to go to these concerts and festivals and whatnot. And my thing is like, how do you feel about that? Like, for somebody like me, I'm still on the fence of getting the vaccine. Because it's still fairly new, and I know really I don't like talking about this kind of stuff because this is triggering to certain people or whatnot. But
I know it's a whole thing of its own. As far as concerts go, I understand it completely, because I think we need, with the vaccine being out, and if it's helpful or not. So far, it seems like a lot of people are reacting fine. So with that being said, I think it is kind of fair that we start going back to normal. People going to concerts, people going to football, baseball, hockey games. Like, I think it's fair that people start living their lives. And obviously we have to take the precautions. And I think we're doing that, like, for the most part, all right. So what I heard, what my friend Connor told me, is that at least for a lot of concerts out in Illinois, and I think every state's different, and I'm going to a concert out there in Illinois with him in August, and what I heard is that you either need to show up with like either proof that you've been vaccinated or a negative test result, like a recent one. So that I'm completely for.
Yeah.
I think that's fair. That's them taking the precautions as they should. But if that's what it's got to be to go
I
to
was
a
gonna say
concert,
that's
what
new.
it's gotta be.
I was gonna say that's new to me. The negative test result, because what I heard is that you need to show that you are vaccinated in order to even go in.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think that's fair. I think to an extent. I think if it's like just vaccinated, I see where you're coming from, but from what he told me, negative test result, I think that's very fair.
That is very fair.
If you don't want to get the vaccine, okay, that's fine. But if you want to go to the concert, you gotta do this.
Yeah.
And
I mean, and like the pandemic's still new. We're just starting to reopen everything again, at least in the United States as a whole. So, us being able to do these concerts again, there is going to be that gray zone of like, is this going to affect in some sort of way? But the idea of telling people that it's not a federal requirement to get the vaccination, to deny access on that for just the vaccination it's kind of shitty, in my opinion. Yeah. And we're in two completely different realms of the U.S. You know what I mean? You're in a more populated area in Florida, and I'm in more of a very rural, nobody's around area of Illinois. So I feel like we've had our own effects of the pandemic differently.
Yeah.
Because out here, we're not like, oh my god, like we all need to mask up and stuff and stay 6 feet away. We naturally do it every day because you go into like the local gas station, the nearest gas station, and there's only like one person there. Whereas probably where you're at, you go to either a gas station or even Publix, and there's hundreds of people there. You know what I mean? Like, so you see more people on a daily basis than what we do out here. So my point of view of the pandemic's a little different.
Well, and something that I was super excited to have back in my life is going to the movie theaters, and I've done that recently twice now, and I saw Spiral like 2 weeks ago, and even though I didn't love the movie, it still felt good going back to the movie theaters. And another thing that's fair about that, and I know actors, directors, movie studios, they're fucking millionaires, billionaires. Like they have all the money in the world. Sure, it's like, okay, they don't need any more, we're just feeding them. But everyone needs a fucking job, and everyone loves their entertainment. If you're into that, if you know me, and if you watch my channel, you know that movies are like one of the most important things to me. So yeah, I love the movie theater experience. I was really bummed out that they weren't around. I was okay with the idea of like, okay, I get to watch it in the comfort of my home. I some movies are coming to HBO Max, and I always choose that option because I like watch, but I also like going to the movie theater. And recently, yesterday actually, I saw A Quiet Place Part 2, and that was a nice movie to go see at the movie theater. And I miss having like popcorn shit and watching shit on the big screen. And to talk about A Quiet Place Part 2 a little bit, have you ever seen the first one or know anything about it? Okay. So I'll briefly talk about it, and I won't spoil because I know it's brand new, and also I want to review it for my channel. So yeah, if you watch my review, it might be a little repetitive for what I'm about to say, but basically, in this one, I went into this one not with lower expectations, and I didn't dislike the first one. I actually really liked it. I went into that movie thinking it was going to be scary. Like, I was going to be pretty fucking freaked out watching it, and I wasn't. And, I guess that's a negative, but maybe that's just not what the movie was. It's more of a thriller, and that's fine. And the story was really good, and the concept's really fucking good, and it was directed terrifically by fucking Jim Halpert, John Krasinski, who's the star in the first movie. And then this one, in the second one, I was like, okay, it's a sequel to a movie that I didn't love, but I went into it knowing that, like, okay, this isn't a horror movie. This isn't here to scare me. It's just supposed to be like, a creepy, almost like Alien, just like a movie, almost like a sci-fi to an extent. And dude, this one was a lot better than the first one in my opinion. I think because it opens up more to the world of what's going on there, and once again, it's directed really well, and the concept still stays strong. It didn't feel like, oh, they're doing the same thing again. It's just more. It picks up right where the first one left off.
Okay.
Which in the first one, I mean, I'm gonna spoil it because that one's been out for 2 or 3 years. Yeah, John Krasinski dies in the end of the first one. He sacrifices himself for the family, and then it's Emily Blunt who plays the mother. It's kind of her and her children just seeing what they're up to now, and they meet. And if you see the trailers, this isn't a spoiler, but they meet more people and see like how other people are dealing with these situations. And dude, I just loved where the fucking story went and more of their adventure, and it's fucking, I think it actually had more creepier moments than the first one. It just had a lot more, I don't know, it felt a lot more interesting because there was new stuff to see, which I loved. And it's rare when I like a sequel more than the first one, but I really like this one more than the first one. Not being because like, oh, I thought the first one was going to be scary. It wasn't. No, I think this is a better movie. And yeah, dude, I recommend it to, like, if you love the first one, you're gonna love this one. And that's what all I've heard before I saw it. Like all the like reviews that other YouTubers were making who saw it before it was released, and shit on Rotten Tomatoes. People are saying like everything you loved about the first one's in this one and more. And that's literally true. And they did kind of set it up to where there might be a third one. I'm a little, there probably is going to be because this one's doing really successful right now. And I'm a little iffy on what they could do with the third one, but I was iffy about second one. And literally the beginning of the movie, the first 10 minutes of the movie is the best part. It's I think the most intense part of the entire movie, and it's really fucking good. So yeah, dude, I recommend everyone out there seeing A Quiet Place Part 2 if you're a fan of the first one.
Is it on all platforms or is it just in the theaters?
No, I think it's just in theaters, but I recommend seeing it in theaters. I had a good time with it, and now, because my friends came over yesterday, I'm showing them my new place, and we're just sitting down, and I was like, all right, do you guys want to watch Army of the Dead, which is that new zombie movie on Netflix? And then we were like, oh, Cruella's out. Oh, A Quiet Place Part 2's out. And I felt happy talking about them, like, oh, dude, movies are out. Like, 3 movies I want to see, and I have to choose which one. I haven't had that in a long time. It was kind of just like waiting for something to come around and be like, oh, thank God it's in theaters, or oh, it's on HBO. So it felt good having decisions, and I, can still watch now 2 of the 3, and I was like, okay, well, let's go see A Quiet Place. I think tomorrow I'm gonna watch Cruella, and then whenever I can, I'll watch Army of the Dead because that's on Netflix. That's not going anywhere. So yeah,
I'm gonna watch Cruella too. Maybe we can talk about that in the next episode or something.
Yeah, for sure. Or we can review it together or something. Because I'm gonna review A Quiet Place Part 2 for sure. I might even come out with a Spiral review. I wasn't going to because I felt like I talked about that a lot. But yeah. So I'm just happy that like the overall statement of what we were talking about before, like when getting into this conversation. It feels good that movie theaters are open again, something that I love doing.
It feels good that everything is starting to build back to normal.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, I mean, sporting events you can get people back in again. You have concerts are coming back with limitations, and then you got movies that are back in theaters. Like, life is starting to become normal again. Like, yeah. I just got back from Florida a few days ago, right. So like I went to Fort Myers for a week with my dad, and it was just like going on vacation again, and there was no limitations, no restrictions, that's a state though, in that area really doesn't require masks, but the fact of being able to go back on a vacation and fully experience everything, going to the beach or going to the Strip, and nobody's like, oh, you gotta wait until people come out in order for you to go in, things are starting to go back to normal again, and I think
Exactly.
it does have something to do with the vaccinations and whatnot. And I feel like that's just something out of all topics that we talk about on here is able for us, the ones that are talking about the topics, like
Yeah.
we're able to enjoy again, and it's making
Well,
us feel at home again. You know what I mean?
exactly, yeah. And everyone's like feeling more content with things. And if you're a person that likes doing activities, whether it is going to a concert, a sporting event, movie theaters, amusement parks, and which I wanted to bring up because this was pre-vaccination. I remember when Disney World opened back up, and they were only doing like 75% capacity.
Mm-hmm.
And I went with my parents this past December. So you had to wear a mask, 75% capacity, and I get all that. And like, obviously during pre-vaccination. And what my dad and I were talking about, we were waiting in line for one of the rides, and there's families there who like have their little kids with them, and it's like, hey, this may or may not be these kids' first time at Disney. And my dad was telling me like, what sucks is that like obviously I'm glad this is open and people could still come here and go on rides. What sucks about like bringing little kids, and I can't speak fully in a parent's perspective because I'm not a parent, but
Mm-hmm.
he was saying like, it felt special bringing you and your sisters here when I was like 4 years old, and my sisters, are a little bit older than me, and they're like no older than 8 years old, and like bringing you guys there, and you guys got to meet the characters and like hug Mickey Mouse, take a picture with them, get their autograph, do all these like little things, and they weren't doing that. I don't think they are still doing that, like meet and greets with characters, because yeah.
Disney's very, very
Yeah.
about making sure
So
that everyone's
it
safe.
does. So I get like what he was saying. Like it kind of sucks that these kids don't get the full experience of Disney, of going up and hugging Mickey Mouse or Goofy, and like getting an autograph and picture taken with them. You can see you see them on the floats in their parades, which is nice. But I was like, yeah, these kids, and especially parents too, because I'm sure it is nice seeing your kid react to like, oh my god, I'm meeting fucking Tarzan or Woody or Buzz, and so yeah, but like it's still nice being there and being able to go on rides, and
Mm-hmm.
like, and I'm sure it's like the same thing for Las Vegas, and I've never been to Vegas, but I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like, another thing my dad said to me, he was like, yeah, it's like going to Vegas, you wouldn't get the full experience right now. And that's why I was like, I wouldn't want to go till like everything's like 100% capacity. You can do whatever the fuck you want there. Nightclubs are open.
Mm-hmm.
All the casinos are like you do whatever you want. And I wouldn't want to be like my first time in Vegas to be limited. You know what I mean?
Could you imagine if you were like 3, 4, 5 years old now, and like never had like any full experience, even something as simple as going to a grocery store? The idea of growing up and all you knew was wear a mask. I don't
Yeah.
like, it's just that's something that's questioned me for a little bit, and I was like, it would be hard for me to wrap my head around, because it's like, how do you go about that?
If you're a
Like,
kid though, you don't have much life experience, so
agreed.
you
Agreed. So
adapt
it's
easily
normal.
to
No,
it,
it's
I think.
normal, but like imagine, just like put yourself in those shoes, like if that's all you knew.
Yeah.
Like, and then all of a sudden the masks are off and everybody is at full capacity. It's just a completely different perspective of looking at.
Yeah.
Where we're like, oh my god, we wanted to go back to this, so it's back to normal. But for them, it may be like, this is weird, you know? Like, could you imagine that? Like, imagine like if you had a kid, like within the last few years, and then like let's say a couple of years down the road, everything goes back to normal. This kid's 5 or 6 years old and is like, why do we not have these on? Why are everyone close to each other and whatnot?
Well, and I think
It's just
and
so weird to think.
unfortunately, and like I said, I mean, I think the way I would have handled that, because I'm just a blunt person, I'd be like, well, the world's okay again, and kind of give them like a real talk.
Oh,
Be
yeah.
be like, I know you're young and you don't understand, but you will when you're older. And, you know, our world wasn't always like this. And you were born into it, unfortunately. But now we're starting to go back to how it was.
Well, whose fault was that? You were born into this, you fuck.
This is your fault.
Oh,
my
man.
God. Yeah.
I think that's a good way to end this, dude. Honestly,
So,
we got
yeah.
everything and a big moral story at the end.
We did.
We did it all. Congratulations.
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 All right. Well, everybody, thank you all for watching. If you're watching this on YouTube and notice that episodes 2 and 3 were released on the same day, we slacked off a little bit, but we'll get back on track to posting them the day after. This episode and episode 2 definitely be up tomorrow. And if you're watching on YouTube, you'll definitely know that then. So yeah, but thank you for watching, and our next episode will be
right down there.
Hello.
June 13th at same time, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, whatever time zone you're in. Do the math, because I can't. The math guy's not here. Well, he is. He's in the Twitch chat, so he's going to say something in 3, 2, 1.
And will there be more members next episode? Will there be less members? Find out in 2 weeks. And everybody, we were Sayin.